I follow the masterclass packaging in Bali. It's a good one because I'm new in the packaging industry. The class gives me a lot of idea about the packaging industry and also its contribution to environment.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat siang, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Salam sejahtera. Allow me to introduce myself, Sarah Siregar of WAKENI. On behalf of IPF and Indopec, we would like to welcome all participants in our webinar, A Sustainable Future for Packaging. With us are our esteemed speakers for today. Our keynote speaker, Ms. Nerida Kelton, VP Sustainability and Safe Food, World Packaging Organization, Mr. Daryl Chung, CPP, Sustainable Packaging Manager at Milliken Asia, Bapak David Thanos, CMO and Business Development, Nama Sindoplas, Ibu Putri Rizka Lestari, PhD R&D Sustainability Specialist Indonesia at SIGWORK, Ibu Anissa Paramita, General Secretary at IPRO, dan moderator yang akan memandu acara webinar kali ini, Bapak Gary Darmawan. Webinar ini diselenggarakan sebagai rangkaian pameran 3-in-1 terkemuka di Indonesia, Indopec, Indoplas, dan di Indoprint, yang akan diselenggarakan oleh PT WAKENI bersama dengan Messe Düsseldorf Asia pada tanggal 31 Agustus sampai dengan 3 September 2022 mendatang. Pameran ini berfokus pada industri pengemasan, plastik, dan percetakan, di mana pada pameran ini akan menjadi kesempatan baik bagi para pelaku industri untuk mengikuti dan melihat perkembangan teknologi dari dalam dan luar negeri. Untuk selanjutnya, acara dipandu oleh Pak Gary. Kami persilahkan Pak Gary untuk waktu dan tempatnya.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Vera from Wakeni. And thank you very much for Wakeni for hosting this webinar today. And it's a joint collaboration between IPF as well, Asia Packaging Federation and World Packaging Organization, together with Wakeni, Interpack, also Indopack. I can see that there we combine all together, and we have a very exciting sustainable topic today, that which is called a sustainable future for packaging. And I believe this is given a big attention by the World Packaging Organization as well, which will be the keynote speaker now, Mrs. Nerida Kelton. So I will introduce Mrs. Nerida. So I think good morning or good afternoon to you to Australia. Yeah, I thank you very much for being here to be our keynote speaker. So I will just introduce you as a keynote speaker. Mainly, you are the vice president of sustainability and safe food at World Packaging Organization, and the executive director also for the Australian Institute of Packaging, looks like. Yes. So I think I welcome you to give the keynote speaker for this webinar today. Thank you very much, Mrs. Nerida.
Thank you so very much, and good afternoon to everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you. It is Australia Day today, so we have a lot of people lying around on beaches celebrating our Australia Day. So I'm very jealous about them because they're all at the beach. So thank you so much for inviting the World Packaging Organization here today, and a particular thank you to the Indonesian Packaging Federation. We have an absolutely wonderful relationship with them, and in particular Ariana and Henki. Thank you so much for inviting us here today. So one of the most important things about the World Packaging Organization is that we represent 64 different associations and countries around the world. And Indonesian Packaging Federation is one of our members, and we're extremely proud of the partnership with them. But for us, what's really important is for our member organizations and our member countries to understand our goals so that you can apply them to your own regions as well. And what's really important under my portfolio is trying to encourage countries and regions to reduce food waste wherever possible, to reduce packaging waste wherever possible, and to make sure that we are increasing the awareness about the importance of packaging, particularly in sustainability, through education and training, just like we're doing here today. And what we would like to see is countries actually targeting unnecessary packaging, reducing problematic materials, and actually looking at reducing single-use plastic wherever possible, lowering environmental impacts wherever possible, and making sure that we're designing more innovative packaging to be more recoverable and recyclable through monomaterials. And where countries should start and where businesses should start is always with the Sustainable Development Goals, because these can be applied to all businesses, and that can be everything from responsible consumption and production, modern slavery acts, making sure that we are giving away food wherever possible, that we have clean water and sanitization. But these are all really critical areas that we need to be discussing with sustainability. And the WPO has many partnerships around the world that you see on screen that actually help us to increase the awareness of circular and sustainable design, and the really important role that packaging plays in minimizing food waste, because food waste has a higher carbon footprint and a higher environmental impact than packaging waste does. So just put that in the back of your head, because food waste is not discussed at the same level as packaging waste, and it should be. And the World Star Packaging Awards, and you saw some fantastic winners on the screen at the start today, and it was congratulations to all the Indonesian companies that won World Star Awards this year. But we have two really important special awards, and one is Sustainable Packaging Design, and the other one is Packaging That Saves Food. And again, both of these have a significant role to play in education for packaging design. But it is really important when we're talking about sustainability to understand that there is a balance, and sometimes there have to be trade-offs, because we are talking about global and local sustainable packaging targets and regulations, but we also need to be bringing into the conversation the environmental impact of food waste and what we're doing in each of the countries and regions to minimize food waste wherever possible. So one of the things that we've started to do is to talk to all of our WPO member countries to understand what this looks like to them. And we have just introduced a new report that we're going to be introducing twice a year at least. And this is the first one that's available for all of you to access. And what it is putting this in perspective from a global perspective. So you have lots of fantastic speakers here today. And what I wanted to do just very briefly was just to show you what we're really talking about on a global perspective when we're talking about sustainability. So extended producer responsibility is a huge conversation, and the majority of countries around the world do actually undertake or follow an EPR scheme or program. And it can be through a PRN scheme, it can be through levies, taxes, etc. But this is the predominant model of where we're moving. However, there are also voluntary commitments and voluntary targets, and countries like Australia and countries like New Zealand don't follow the EPR model. We have a voluntary commitment for all of the industry. So again, when you're designing your packaging, you need to consider the environment that you're selling into. So the region or country that you're selling into and the regulations and targets that they're adhering to. So some of the areas that we're seeing that there's a huge uptake in is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Now, again, for any of you who've never heard about the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, please have a look at them, because they have the most advanced resources available for all of you to access for free. And they are doing a tremendous job to try and minimize problematic materials, and particularly plastic and single-use plastic. And there is it's a network now. And as you'll see on screen, they're growing every single day. And it's fantastic to see that just in the last 12 months, Kenya and South Africa have been added. And we will start to see more and more of the plastics packs being added. And this is an industry-based responsibility and a collaborative approach to trying to reduce plastic pollution and plastic in the oceans. And then we talk about single-use plastic directives, rules and regulations. And again, every country, every region is talking about this. And if they don't have regulations and rules already, they're working on them at the moment. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to design out waste at the start. We're trying to eliminate problematic materials, reduce single-use plastic wherever possible, and keep it out of the oceans and waterways wherever possible around the world. We're also starting to see a very hot topic at the moment, particularly in France. And if you haven't heard about the changes in France with their produce ranges, please have a look at it. But there is a huge shift in some regions to plastic-free aisles. Now, talking about that balance that I was talking about, there is a balanced approach that needs to be followed when we're moving to plastic-free aisles, because we don't want to waste food and we don't want food waste to go to landfill because of the environmental impact. So just keep that in mind. A really exciting area is refillable and reuse programs, and not just in store, but online, through e-commerce platforms. And now there are just so many options for us to go and refill all of our packaging. And again, keep an eye on this, because this is just evolving, and it's just such a fantastic area to actually look at when you're looking at the waste hierarchy. This is an area that we think is underutilized, and we would encourage all brands to look at refill and reuse as an option. And then we have the conversation around greenwashing. What we have to do is make sure that we collaboratively around the world ensure that companies and customers are not being misled. It is really important when you're communicating to customers on pack and off pack that you're being honest about the sustainability of your packaging. And there are a lot of marketing companies, unfortunately, that are putting misleading information on pack. And we are seeing this change because regulations are pushing against it. And it is important to make sure that you are being honest on and off pack with sustainability, recyclability and recoverability. And the huge example of this is the shift in the development of the European Green Deal. Again, have a look at this, but this is a collaborative regional approach to making sure that everybody is trying to meet the Circular Economy Action Plan where best as possible in the region. And then obviously we're looking at certified compostable packaging and making sure that people stop using the term biodegradable, that they only use the term certified compostable packaging, and that they are only putting honest certified logos on pack like the ones that you see on screen, because it isn't fair to consumers to purchase products that are only industrial composted. If they can't be put in the right bin, or they're going to be put into the wrong bin and then contaminate a recycling stream, then we need to really look at this area. And it again is an area that's evolving. Consumers are expecting it. Consumers are demanding compostable packaging, but there are a lot of barriers and challenges in this area, as most of you would know. And we just need to be very careful what we're saying on pack and make sure it's certified for the country that you're selling it in. And then we're seeing this evolution of on-pack labeling. And on-pack labeling is designed to help consumers better understand honest and truthful recyclability and recoverability of all of the separable components and materials in the packaging. And this is such an important area that we need to evolve around the world. And on screen, you will see 3 key programs that are extremely successful. And we have the OPRL program, which is for the United Kingdom. We have the Australasian Recycling Labelling Program, which is for Australia and New Zealand. And it's a very similar sister program to the OPRL because they were actually developed together. And then the one in the middle is How to Recycle, which is for the United States. And what this does is it's honest. And it helps consumers to understand, okay, so I have separable components. This one's recyclable, this one isn't, and we put them in the right bins. So for the WPO, we would like to see more of this happening around the world. And there is another program being developed at the moment in the Scandinavian European countries. So watch this space because they're actually developing one as well. We're also seeing a lot more return and earn container deposit schemes. And I know that Indonesia is starting to look at this as well. And this is about incentivizing consumers to recycle, to recover, and to have an incentive or a reward to collect it and recycle it. And it could be in the transference of money, it could be food, it could be water, it could be transportation fees like a bus ticket or a train ticket, but this is to incentivize people to actually return their items. And it also helps the industry to collect quality feedstock. Now, I know from my really young nephew's perspective, this is the best thing that's ever been developed because this is how he makes his pocket money. And whenever we have family functions, he goes around and he collects all of the recoverables and he makes pocket money out of it. So it's fantastic to see the young ones are really getting behind these schemes. We also are seeing return to store collection programs for soft plastics and flexibles. Now, not every country does this. This is a way to keep a problematic material that is difficult to recycle at the moment in most countries out of landfill. So it is an alternative to keep it out of landfill. And more return to store programs are happening around the world. And most of this is repurposed into other solutions like the ones that you see on screen. So not entirely circular, it's more a second life, what we call a second life, but it is better than it ending up in landfill and not being recycled or recovered. So you can make patios, you can make benches, you can make flower beds, and you can actually input this material into roads. And the roads and the footpaths is actually one of the most successful solutions for soft plastics. Now, obviously, we would like to see more chemical recycling around the world. And again, that is happening, but it's at a high cost. And in countries that have smaller volumes of packaging, it can be an extremely expensive exercise. Again, soft plastic return to store programs moving into an end market and a second life is a good stopgap measure to make sure it doesn't end up in landfill or in a waterway or an ocean. And then we're also seeing really good technology and innovations being developed in materials recovery facilities. And it's about trying to make sure that when we design our packaging at the start, that we're not only designing out the waste and the problematic materials, but we're also making sure that it is recovered through the materials recovery facilities, that it isn't being kicked down or not imported because it's too small or too thick or doesn't have the right dimensions, 3D dimension, 2D dimension. It's really important that we're designing packaging to meet the needs of the materials recovery facilities. But one of the things that materials recovery facilities are doing now is trying to work out how do we take either a manual or an automated, very simple NIR system and making it a more technically advanced, innovative solution that is going to collect and recover difficult to recycle materials. And the Holy Grail 2.0 is a perfect example of this. And this is being trialed in Belgium at the moment and other parts of Europe. And what it is imperceptible barcodes that sit on the packaging that actually can read it through the materials recovery facility and a standard NIR system to make sure that it is picked up and collected. So particularly when we're talking about difficult to recycle materials like soft plastics and flexibles, this is a fantastic solution. Again, watch this space. It is on trial at the moment, but so far the trials are doing really, really well. Another area that we're extremely proud of is the Design for Recycling guide. And again, this is accessible to you. And I know you also have your own localized guides that IPRO and PRAISE and IPF and WPO worked on together. But this is also to help you if you're selling into other markets. So please access this, download this, share this with all your colleagues. But it's here to help you to understand what good looks like, what state-of-the-art technology looks like, and how to design out the waste at the start and make sure that it's recoverable and recyclable at the end. We also have a number of resources about sustainability and packaging that saves food, and Ariana will have access to this slideshow so you can download all of these resources, but they're all available to help you. But I think for me, the most important thing is that sustainable packaging is so ever evolving and so dynamic, and it is changing on a daily basis. And you need to keep up to date with what's happening because it is changing. And we are seeing advancements in innovation and technology and new materials coming onto the market. And it's a really exciting space to be in. And if I can leave you with one thing, it's about understanding that there still needs to be a balance between food waste and sustainable packaging, and making sure that you have the lowest environmental impact possible and you're designing out waste at the start. So thank you for having me, and I really hope that that helped you a little bit.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Nerida. It has given us a very good insight and good starting point now that the circular economy and sustainable packaging is evolving and progressing. It's very exciting to hear that. Thank you very much. And for our information, just before we continue, that we have for this webinar, we have over 700 participants, and 1/3 of that is coming from the overseas. So it's outside Indonesia. That's why I'm going to use now English language to accommodate all our overseas participants. But please feel free to put your questions or remarks on the chat room or question and remark answers in also in Indonesian language is no problem. So I think before we continue, I would like to hand over to Wakeni because they want to give a special gift to express the thankfulness or as a thank you symbolizes to all the speakers. So Bu Vera, go ahead. You can present the gift, yeah, virtually.
Thank you, Pak Gary. Thank you, Ms. Nerida Calvin, for sharing the information so clearly with full of good knowledge. Now, please allow us to express our sincere gratitude to you virtually. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So this is just as notes for as a thank you notes for Mrs. Nerida, and we will continue with taking pictures for all the participants now. Before we start with the first speaker, so I would like to request all participants to turn on the video. So please to make yourself visible, and we will the host will capture the pictures page by page, and then after we turn on the video. So I can see now some of you are still off. So now we get some videos coming, and also so we have now 300 participants. I think we can take one by one page. In one page, I think we can. If it's already captured, please let me know, Bu Vera. I think the team from the Wakeni is capturing the pictures, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Please count 3, 2, 1. Then we can take picture together.
Or
I will just lead to count, and then we take picture together. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
In
yeah,
3, 2, 1. Okay. One more time.
Yeah.
Give the best smile. Cheer up the day. In 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
All right. So all is captured, Bu?
Yes,
And,
all is captured. Good faces.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I will continue now. The first speaker for our webinar today will be for Mrs. Daryl Chang. Yeah, I think he is a representative from Milliken. So Milliken is a raw material expertise and supplier talking about we'll be talking about sustainable packaging contribution from the raw material expertise now. So Mr. Daryl Chong is a sustainable packaging manager at Milliken Asia, more than 10 years experience in the packaging industry already. So Mr. Daryl, are you there already? Yeah, so you can go ahead. If your mic, you can already unmute, and then from your side, I think I hand over to you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
The floor.
Much. I'll share my screen now.
Yes, you can share. So.
Okay, if you can see my screen.
Yes, now I can see already. You can put it in the slideshow now. So.
Is this slideshow mode?
Yeah. And now there is, yes, you can start. Yeah, now there is some notes on the, we can see your notes on the screen, but I think.
Give me a second then. Let me try again.
It's like a mirroring, yeah, but I think. So if it's possible to make it bigger, then it's better. Otherwise, I think it's okay.
Okay, let me stop and let me try again.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Is this all right?
Yes. Yeah, now it's already full screen. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just give me a moment. I need to minimize this. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. And to Narita, happy Australian Day as well. I'm Daryl, the Sustainable Packaging Manager at Milliken. And before I start, I would like to first thank the IPF for the opportunity to speak at today's conference. Our presentation today will be on applying sustainability rules to rigid packaging. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my company. Milliken is known as the largest private chemical company in the world. We have 7,300 associates over 65 locations globally, and our expertise include chemicals, floor, healthcare, as well as textiles. Our key purpose is together we strive to positively impact the world to come around us for generations to come. Our values are integrity, excellence, innovation, sustainability, and of course, empowering our people. Let me touch a little bit on the background of why we need sustainable packaging. We know that polymer-based packaging represents only 33% of the plastics market. It's also true that we have not done a great job managing plastics at the end of life. And unfortunately, this mismanagement has led to plastics appearing where they do not belong. Environmental leakage resulting from mismanagement and litter is due to the lack of efficient and harmonized recycling system. One of the more persistent issues is that the value of recycled plastics are insufficient to spur collection, be it due to tax issues or the quality of recycling. From a point of consumers, we have found that in the recent years, the growth of people wanting environmentally friendly packaging has grown for the younger generation. In Indonesia, we see a 36% of people polled wish to choose options which are more environmentally friendly. To understand the situation better, we enlisted the help of a renowned group of sustainability experts at PA Consulting to expand our knowledge of global trends and issues. What we have found that after about 70 value chain interviews, 8 key super themes emerge. Today, I would like to focus on 4 of them, being that many groups are pushing for a more circular economy, packaging waste regulation is coming, there's acceptance that standardization is required, and sustainable packaging design is moving beyond cost and lightweighting towards designing for end of life. In terms of more groups pushing towards a more circular economy, there are groups such as Alliance to End Plastic Waste, as mentioned by Narita, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the WPO, the United Nations, as well as ASEAN. Regarding packaging waste regulation, we can see that almost all countries in our region are working towards similar goals, be it in terms of extended producer responsibility or other regulations. We in the industry need to prepare for this and be able to support the movement towards such goals. This is the moment where opportunity strikes to remain ahead of the curve and develop the needed options for the future or basically be left behind. In terms of sustainable packaging design guidelines and standardization, our fellow members within the industry, the APR, Recyclass, the WPO, and local actors are doing their best to give direction in which to require to achieve our targets. Some examples in these guidelines in the market I have attached to this presentation, as well as the links so that you may be able to access them on your own. Examples such as the APR, Recyclass, as well as the WPO. For the purpose of this presentation, I've summarized some of the must-nots into the following table. Some of the key points which are similar among the various polymers are as follows. For resins as pure as possible, typically 90% or higher, avoiding the use of fillers or foaming agents, changing the density of the material beyond its natural tendencies, avoiding oxo-biodegradable and biodegradable additives. For colors, ideally transparent, avoiding optical brighteners, avoiding dark colors, avoiding opaque fluorescent metallics. For barriers, some are acceptable except for coatings or EVO reach. The key thing is to avoid exceeding established limits, typically between 3 to 5%. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of transparency. Well, this might be stating the obvious. In a literal sense, consumers like transparency in product packaging that lets them see the product inside the packaging. They like looking inside without having to open the package. It gives them clues like, hey, now it's time to buy a new bottle, or hey, a little bit more, which I should finish up. Ensuring that the least waste is generated. Brand owners also see this as an opportunity to convey their brand message. Additionally, the high gloss offered by PP can enhance the aesthetics and overall look of the package. Not just transparency in a literal sense, but also brands are being more open about what's in or what's not in their products. When we ask the major global brands, they explain this has become a necessity that originated from social media. Posts like top 5 ingredients you should avoid in your makeup or shampoo, formaldehyde, dioxin scares, which have created a gap of trust between brands and the consumers. Brands are doing all they can to restore this consumer confidence, and packaging transparency is a way of saying, hey, I have nothing to hide. While original study was conducted on food, I think this is applicable to all packaging. From an industrial point of view, many of us know there are 3 major factors contributing to a less than optimal recycling volume. These are the lack of recycling infrastructure, the lack of government regulations, and the lack of economic incentive. We know number 1 and 2 are currently being addressed, from numbers of recycling facilities popping up like mushrooms around the region, to EPR type regulations we hear from being looked at almost every country in ASEAN in one form or another. Where we can support this move is number 3, or increasing the value of materials being collected. At up to 60% the premium of opaque polymers, transparent polymers are very much desired. At this point, you might have realized that I'm focusing on PP, but why PP? Let's talk about glass for a second. We know, for example, glass is not compatible with e-commerce for a variety of reasons, including its heavy weight, high carbon footprint, risk of breakage, and brand risk associated with all those above. Ultra Clear PP addresses all 4 of these hurdles with more sustainable and robust packaging options. While public perception is important, I'm happy to see that the increased use of LCA as a more scientific measure of sustainability. And when you run the life cycle analysis, the weight differential leads to a lower material use with plastics, which heavily influences this LCA ratings. In a typical polypropylene versus glass LCA, PP is often advantaged in 15 out of 16 environmental categories, including CO2 emissions or climate change. On average, PP is advantaged by around 60% of the glass. I won't go into too much detail here, but as you can see, we even ran different end-of-life scenarios to see if glass could ever have a more positive story than polypropylene. And even when glass use was 100% recycled material and is recycled 100% at end of life versus 0 recycled PP content and 0 recycled end of life with polypropylene, PP is still advantaged in 7 categories versus just 3 with glass. Let's move on to PS. The issue with PS is a tad different. Its main issue is its recycle rate. While this information is based in the US, cases of PS recycling in this region is just as, if not more rare. Furthermore, once you adjust for density, meaning number of units, PP is actually cheaper by up to 50% in comparison. Lastly, looking once again at LCA comparison of the 2, you see that PP clearly has advantages here too, up to 11 out of 16 in impact categories. Next, I'll speak a little bit on PET. When replacing PET with PP, there are 2 major benefits. One being overall lightweighting, the other being able to make the entire packaging of the same material. This is known as the monomaterial movement. A lot of us are familiar in the flexible industry. We also know that this can be applied to rigids as well, from making the caps to the bottles and the labels of the same material. The major factor influencing PP advantages over PET and LCA boils down to lightweighting. Additionally, PP has between 4% lower carbon footprint as compared to PET. We always hear how PET is praised for being recyclable, but is it? When we did a search in Thailand, we found that for non-bottle PET packaging waste, there's limited acceptance for PET recyclers, for Thai recyclers. Some reasons which make it difficult to recycle include mixed viscosity of the PET resin use, coloring and printing, label adhesives. Not all PET waste is suitable for injection molding. Colored PET is not suitable for fibers, bottle applications. Rigid PP twin packaging has got far wider acceptance of the waste collectors and recycle as it can go into IM applications. Another interesting phenomenon is observed when PET is replaced by PP. We found that in PP detergents and soaps tend to dispense close to twice as fast, leading to more convenience in use. Additionally, there tends to be less leftover content after dispensing. This leads to an opportunity for waste reduction. Looking again once at the LCA comparing the two, we can see that PP clearly has advantages over PS. Sorry, the main factor influencing PP over advantages in PE LCA boils down to lightweighting. Additionally, PP has 24% lower carbon footprint as compared to PET. I would like to share some of the solutions we have at Milliken as well as some of the commercial successes, starting with NX8000. There are several examples of products that are already delivering a sustainable impact. For example, Millard NX8000 has been shown to deliver energy savings and productivity improvements over previous generations of clarifiers. Many are using this UL label to demonstrate their commitment to lower impact solutions. It's important to point out that Millard NX8000 has received approvals by the Association of Plastic Recyclers and Recyclers for compatibility with polypropylene recycling process. As you can see in the above slide, not all transparent PP are the same. On the left, you can see PP modified with NX8000, and in the center, that's the same resin after being recycled. The color, as you can see, remains relatively clear as compared to the yellowing observed without all clarifiers, which can be seen on the right. This leads to higher recyclable performance and increasing the value post-recycling. Next, I would like to touch on some of the success cases we have in the region. Famously, the move from PS to PP by Ferrero. These SKUs should already be available in Indonesia. Key reasons for the switch over was lightweighting of up to 38%, as well as improved recyclability. We can replace other materials in similar applications as the clarity of PP with Millard has reached level close to water clear polymers such as polystyrene. Another case I'd like to touch on is the move from PET to PP for Family Mart. The key reasons for this switch over are lightweight packaging, excellent transparency, economics, heat resistance, as well as microwavability. For the next case is the use of PP for bubble tea cups. The reasons for the use include excellent transparency with clear brand labeling. The contents can be seen clearly, and its ability to withstand different temperature requirements, be it hot or cold. The last example for NX8000 I would like to share is for ice cream lids. This allows for freshness with high clarity, temperature resistance for transportation up to -22 degrees Celsius, as well as good performance on packaging design. Similar to NX8000 example, high-performance nucleating additives have been shown to deliver energy savings for thin wall injection molded products. Again, the UL label is available to help brands demonstrate their commitment to sustainable solutions. A case study to illustrate this is its use for yogurt cups. It allows for high stiffness, good sealing, high heat deflection temperature, as well as potential for down gauging. Moving on to UltraGuard. When designing packaging, one of the key considerations is the amount of materials used. Designing with fewer mixed materials is also important to ensure the quality of the recycling process. Solutions like UltraGuard, which uses our nucleation technology to enhance the barrier in polyethylene, can allow for lightweight design as well as improved recyclability. This is a commercial example which shows nucleation additives can help to reduce the overall packaging weight while maintaining challenges performance requirements. GlaxoSmithKline has launched Advil on this new bottle, which will reduce the overall weight of Advil bottles by roughly about 500,000 pounds a year. This figure is for the initial launch in the United States only. So this successful project looked into the entire value chain and took several years to bring to market. When using more PCR content, this goal, Deltamax can help balance the need to deliver melt flow and impact performance. Much of PP in the recycling stream has a low melt flow, making it difficult to use in many processes. Deltamax can improve that melt flow and get it higher so it's suitable for the injection molding process. Deltamax also helps improve the cycle time and allow for processing at lower extruded temperatures. The result is improved efficiency and productivity with more PCR content. Lastly, in the case of foods, the trends towards healthy and natural have presented challenges. One of them is from light. Milton Clearshoe UV absorbers can be incorporated into PET packaging to significantly reduce the harmful effects of UV light on juices and other foods that are light sensitive, eliminating the need for use for dark or colored containers to protect the content. This also allows brand owners to remove the often high loadings of traditional UV additives that have been previously used in formulations of the packaging contents themselves. With this, I'd like to conclude that packaging guidelines are available, the solutions are already here. We in Milliken are always willing to support our brand owners, converters, and racing producers to achieve the goals towards a more sustainable future. My contact details are as follows, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Daryl. So we already got some insights from the raw material expertise from the side. So we thank you very much that you opened the perspective for application on your products to create a sustainable future packaging. Yeah. So we are going to combine the questions coming for this topic after the second speaker. So please be patient for all the participants who put some questions on the chat room. So we will be trying to answer it after the second speaker. So I think now we can go on and continue first to our second speaker, who is Mr. David Thanos, yeah, from Namasindo Plus. Yeah, he will be good afternoon, Mr. David. So
good afternoon.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So he will be representing from the user's point of view, yeah, from the side of the market demand about the application for the sustainable packaging. And he is the Chief Marketing Officer, basically, and at Namasindo Plus in Indonesia. So I welcome you, Mr. David, and you may share your presentation and to the participants. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Gary. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and also many thanks to the organizer as to give Namasindo an opportunity to participate and bring our presentation in this afternoon webinar event. Following to the agenda, I take my presentation with the title of Create Circular Ecosystem for the Future of Sustainability Packaging. So if we're talking about future of sustainability packaging, actually Namasindo already put it as one of our core of activity. Why? Because there was a history that we think about our main business in plastic and what is the impact or effect to the community or to the future. For your information, Namasindo, we are doing our business as a provider of plastics packaging, especially for food and beverage industry. And we are using a lot of material and with different type, such as PET resins, PC resins, HDPE, or PP resin, and etc. These materials we are using to produce all our variant of plastic packaging, like preforms, cups, screw caps, gallon jacks, etc. Then, if we think about plastic impact, we try to find a solution regarding what we are using as our material, which is the plastic material itself. So, back to more than 10 years ago, we already create a concept as related to our discussion today. This is the concept that we named. Our concept is bottle to bottle. So by learning and developing this concept, we start to make that one of the basic resin that we are using, which is the PET resins, should be or can be recycled to become usable product again as a new products. Then the concepts start to create a link or cycle, as by the end will be create an ecosystems that since will be repeated again and again, so will be become a circular ecosystem. So Namasindo already create this circular ecosystem, and by a few next slide, I will explain for more details. So the circular can be free translate like or described like a cycle. And for Namasindo, this is the cycle of how we implement the ecosystem of our part. The plastic business make the ecosystem and impact to the community or the link around the business. In this cycle, when the concept of B2B or bottle to bottles start, you can see the left round of this cycle is a process of collecting the source materials. This is to collect the waste bottles. As you can see, this is the part on the left part. And inside there, of course, already covers the circular economy systems to the community. And on the right round of the cycle is our part as a producer to process the source material, which is the waste bottles, to become a new product again, a new bottles again. So to be more specific, this slide has to inform that there is the process of collecting the waste bottles. And Namasindo already built the collection centers with full of our quality standardization. By now, we have a collection centers around few locations on Java, Bali, and Lombok. To be more detailed, for the right side of the cycle that just informed to you at the previous slide, we as a producer must also build a facility to process the resource or to process the source materials. So we build the recycle PET line and go through the development. You can see even for the supporting document itself, we must provide, and right now already provide. So this is the timeline when we are starting our line of rPET in 2008. Actually until now, but this is the several years that have a big achievement, such as in 2017, we have a SNI, or also discussed with BPOM for the standardization of the product. So when we discuss or talking about the economy, a circular economy or ecosystem, when we build the collection centers, then there is a top to down layers must be settled. So if we look about in this slide, there is a looks like a pyramid. So our collection centers at the top, but we also must manage the scavengers or upper layer below the collection center. So at the bottom, the scavengers, the cycle will be involving scavengers, as they will always collecting the waste bottles at the ground. So in the loop of the one collection centers, there will be involved the scavengers and will be effect for about 2,000 people as a scavengers as to serve our collection, one of our collection centers. The scavengers will sort the waste bottles to the upper layer or head at that area, and inside this layer will be impact also to about 800 people there. And then after the process of separating the waste here, then they will sold to the collection centers, which is we have already right now 8 collection centers around Java, Bali, and Lombok area. Inside the collection centers, also impact to up 200 people there. So this is the pyramid that can explain where is the circular economy going on. And the more detail for the information regarding the collection centers, this is the process inside the collection centers. So when the community around the collection center sold the waste bottles, then we will process inside the collection centers this process until the waste bottles become a flakes. We call flakes because already going to this standardization, washing, sorting, and also testing before sent to our facility. So inside here also there is a circular ecosystem applicable here in our collection center. The product from collection center will be sent to our facility. So if you're looking here, the incoming flakes from the collection centers will be sent to our facility, PT Namasindo Plus, located at Bandung, West Java. And inside this process, we will create after washing line with all the sorter here, extrusion line, and also the solid state polycondensation boiler here. We will have a final product named RPET as same level quality or same level with virgin PET. So to complete the B2B or bottle-to-bottle cycle and to connect the circular ecosystem itself, this slide to explain that after the process of RPET done, you can see here, it can be produced as a real material PET for preform. So whether we can mix it together between virgin PET and recycled PET, or only recycled PET 100%, for example, we will have to produce the preforms. And after preforms, there is a one step. If we blow it according to the pen design from anyone to get the new bottles, then the concept bottle to bottles now can be achieved. Those two parts of the cycles before, number one, the community around the waste bottles, and number two, as a producer, Namasindo, both can get the circular economy or ecosystem benefits and create a circular ecosystem on the cycle of plastic packaging as for bottle to bottles. So now come the question, is the RPET product that create from waste bottles are safe for food and beverage packaging? Yes, the answer. That's why I can show the documents as proven of safety and health, but also for the regulation to be accepted for or on food industry, such as quality management systems or food safety, or even from halal one certificate for Indonesia, and not also only that, the RPET certificate we have also from BPOM, and also there is a SNI, and also SGS. This SGS is following the FDA USA approved for food and beverage. So, as a conclusion, the concept of B2B or bottle to bottle from Namasindo is the way to create circular ecosystems for sustainable packaging. Second, the output of circular system is RPET, that not only for sustainable future, but also to coverage the Go Green campaign issue or Ocean Clean campaign, and a lot of benefits for our earth, our home. So for Namasindo, we are the #1 or pioneer of recycled plastic PET in Indonesia, and also we are the pioneer of circular economy bottle to bottle in Indonesia. In this, we create already from linear economy, but by B2B technology from Namasindo, we can create the circular economy for the future sustainability packaging. This is to end my presentation, and thank you very much for your kind attention. Back to you, Pak Gary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak David, for sharing with us the initiative from the Namasindo for the sustainable future for packaging. And as promised, we will highlight some of the questions coming from the for the first session and the second session now. First of all, I will just read the first questions coming from the Bu Adinda Nur Fitriana from company Cahaya Bahari. So she has a questions to Milliken, so to Mr. Daryl, yeah. So Daryl, it's in regards to medical packaging. She asks, which requires packaging materials and linings are designed to be single use or able to withstand sterilization? What are the best material choices from your side or point of view? Yeah, maybe you can help to answer.
Okay, for single use able to withstand sterilization, usually they will use PE. Depending on what type of sterilization, like there is, I believe, EO type as well as beam type. And typically it tends to move over to the PE side. And I believe the backing, they tend to use tie-dye. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, okay. Because I believe this is to withstand the sterilization temperature up to 120 degrees normally, which is a condition for the medical packaging. And so either HDPE retortable or the PP retortable, what I know, yeah, maybe, okay, that's depending on the barrier also, then you may have some barrier layer there in between or in with additives like you present, I think. Okay, I think that was the first question. And the second question coming from Tommy Repudi to Milliken as well. You, Mr. Daryl, can PP replace PET for blister pack product packaging? And does PP perform good sealing with baking card of blister pack products? Do you have any experience?
We are actually exploring whether PP can actually replace PET. However, there are still some limitations which we are experiencing. This is mainly due to rigidity as well as the clarity. So we are exploring that particular segment, and we'll definitely get back to you if and when we find ourselves successful. If you'd like to explore this in a little bit more detail, feel free to email me at, I'll put my email address in your question as well. so that you'll be able to contact me.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Sudara. So the next question, I think we will go to Bu Yvonne Aprilia Chan. She has a question, I think, related to the RPET, yeah, from Namasindo. Maybe Pak David can help to answer. The question is that are the recycled PET or RPET having the same strength with virgin PET in if it's having the same thickness at the same thickness? Do you have some experience there, David?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I will answer that. As long as the strain or using in the same application and our RPET maintaining the IV number same like virgin or VPF, it can be possible. Because it can be same value.
Same strength, yeah. As long as the IV is fulfilled, yeah, required, but the IV requirement fulfilled. Okay, thank you very much. So the next question, I think, goes to you also, Pak David. Okay, how many times can the PET bottle be recycled? It's a really big.
Yeah, to be using again and recycle again, using again and recycle. Yes, this is a good question. We have always have this question for our customers or candidate of our customers will be using our PET. So the answer is until today there is no standardization international say like you can only use 10 times, 5 times. After that you cannot recycle again the bottle. No, since there is no regulation and we always have experience from one of our customers here in Indonesia, there are bottles already using recycled PET as combined with virgin PET, and then these bottles consumed and after that put by the scavengers and coming back to our collection center, and we are creating again to our PET, and no issue until today. So can be used many times for now.
Okay, there is no standardization at the moment. Also, maybe there are some studies, but based on experience now, you can use it and reuse it all over the time. Yeah, all the PET bottle produced also from the RPET, basically. Okay, yeah, there are some similar questions also coming from different people. So I think that was the answer. And the question also, another question for Pak David. David, is it the same process to become preform from virgin PET to RPET? Is it using the same or different temperature, same drying or same dehumidifier, or and how much percentage for RPET to make a preform? I think up to how many percent? Maybe you have some. This is a little bit detailed in the technical production area.
Wait a moment. So the question is it same process to become preform from virgin PET or RPET? Yes, it's exactly the same. Same process that we will put it in our, say, like our customer machinery, like preform machinery to create the preform. Even using the virgin PET or RPET will be the same process. There will be a little bit different at the setting of the temperature, yes. By setting for the temperatures, sometimes it will be lower when we are using the RPET compared to virgin PET. Why? Because already have a process of recycle. If we say same drying or same dehumidifier, I think yes, we can use the same attachment, or we can use drying or dehumidifier to support the preform machinery. Yes, we can use the same. And how much percentage for RPT for make preforms? It will be depend, Pak Muhammad Sahrir, it will depend on what is your design. You can use 25% RPT and 75% PET, but you can also use 100% RPT right now. There is one customer already have the product in the market that using our RPT and they're using 100%. That is the question, Gary.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Pak David. It's true. So up to 100% now we can have the bottle made from the rPET, based on the state-of-the-art technology. So there is another question coming from Bu Alina Marm Sikwerk, addressing to the rPET also, Pak David. So maybe you can answer, who are the typical customers of the recycled PET? Are these the local Indonesian companies or are they exported, basically?
Okay.
The clients, most of them.
Okay, our biggest customer here in Indonesia, they are using and they are developing with us from the beginning, actually. Should I say the name here, Pak Gary? Is okay?
It's up to you if you want to mention the name, but typical customer could be brand owners.
We are support to Danone Aqua Indonesia for the product.
Okay, yes.
So most of their
brand owners,
most of their products is already mixed with RPT right now.
Yeah. So those are the beverages and mineral water producer, brand owners,
yes,
basically.
Correct.
Are they also exported or only local?
Yes. Thank you for your question. Yes, also we have opened our facility to export to foreign country, and most of them is coming from Asian right now. Asia actually already sent to several parts, but we are working together with partners like Japan trader company.
Okay, so they are also exported in form of flakes and also the pellets, rPET, pellets.
Yeah, rPET, the output end product, the final product, the rPET.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Pak David. So I will move to Mr. Daryl now. As there are some questions also from related to Milliken. Yeah, I think it's from Mr. Wahid. The company is PT Nova Chemi Utama. Mr. Daryl, the question is, how long shelf life or the shelf life of the bottle PET, PP, and HDPE? This is the shelf life of the bottle itself, I believe. It's not the product.
How long is shelf life? Sorry, I'm not sure what is the question exactly. The shelf life of the bottle.
The shelf life of the bottles. I think this is also a little bit ambiguous. It's not so clear. Because I don't know. Maybe I can move to the other questions. Maybe you can keep it, and then and once we have the person there, we can ask them. There is another question regarding Milliken, because we still have time.
Sure.
Wait a minute. This is coming from Mr. David. This is coming from I don't see anybody else now, but if you see someone having the question to you,
There was one question which says any PET materials are similar to glass texture.
yes, exactly. This is the one I was looking for.
No worries.
Can
Yeah,
answer.
sir, I don't exactly understand texture as in the feeling because that depends on your mold condition. So if you want to make it glossy and flat, it's definitely possible. You want to give textures on the surface, it's also definitely possible. So it depends on your mold instruments. But so it's not a question of material itself, but it's a question of the process. So yeah, it can be achieved. I hope that answers the question that I'm being asked.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. David. Mr. Daryl, yeah, I just missed it.
Happens. No worries.
So far, we still have 2 minutes. So one more question. I open the floor. I think there is seems to be more questions to Mr. David for the PE, the RPET. Okay, from Mr. Robert Tumiwa here, the question is, how do you positioning the RPET material? What's the level of premium in percentage versus virgin PET? Okay, that was answered. But what are the critical factors to make the RPET will be on the comparison in cost versus the virgin PET? I think this is the meaning the critical factor defining the RPET versus the virgin PET in, for example, in terms of cost, yeah, the selling price.
Okay. Okay. Following the question, I think I can answer like this. So if we are using or mixing the product between RPET and virgin PET, if we are looking on the price basis, right now at the market itself, the price of RPET still below the virgin PET. The big factor will be impact to the RPET price base is the availability of flakes at the ground, or we can say the availability of the waste bottles at the ground. As long as the supply can be maintained at the collection centers, then there will be no issue. But sometimes we are also facing a problem since we must also try to fight with another industry like yarn or textile to get the waste bottles. So this one will be difficult or big factor to become the pricing of flakes will be increasing and automatically will be increasing the RPET price. So I think this is the answer regarding the comparison of the pricing right now.
Yeah. So it's quite competitive also for with the other textile as well. But okay, thank you very much. I open one more question because it seems to be more here from PET ABC President Indonesia. There is a question about effect using RPET to the physical properties of the bottle, such as the migration or the top load of the plastic, and by how much it is reduced, or maybe you have some inputs on that.
Okay, on my presentation, actually, we already explained that our product is the recycled PET is also hold or contain or have a certification. So inside the certification, we already have a proof, say like a proof on the categorized or specification, and also including the migration, etc., like that. And beside that, we already have experience with our customers because they already tried to learn and try to make an application of RPET with their standard. So like a migration or something like this already test, already proved by their own labs or third-party labs, and proof that can be used as or applicable to their product.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. David and Mr. Daryl. I think
Yes.
those are the questions which we have the opportunity to answer now, and I appreciate for your sharing the topics and from your side, both of you. So we will have to move on to the next speaker now, and for the time being, so if you have time to answer it, please go ahead. If there is more question there along the time,
Yes. We will try to answer one by one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. David, Mr. Daryl.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next topic presentation will be given by the third one. It will be given by Ibu Putri Rizka Lestari, and she is actually coming from the PT SIGWET Indonesia, and she is the R&D or Research and Development and Sustainability Specialist at Indonesia SIGWET representative. And I think I will hand over to you, Bu Putri, to share your presentation and topic. And yes, feel free to share your screen.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll start to share my screen. Wait a second. I'm opening my PT first. Oops. Wait a second. It's loading. It keeps loading. So.
Okay, no problem. So we just wait. Just to mention also to our participants having the questions, please put it, feel free in the chat room. Also in Indonesian language is no problem. It's convenient for you.
Ibu Putri, excuse me, do you need us to run your presentation?
Sorry?
Or do you need us to run your presentation, or would you still like to
actually, I
wait?
made some revision. I made some revision in my presentation, so I think it's better for me to
run your own.
Okay. Yes. However, it noticed that my Google Chrome is not responding. So wait.
It's okay. We will wait.
Shall we move to the next presenter and then we come back to me?
Okay. We will swap the time, and then we will give the time now to the other presenter, and then we'll come back to you later.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bu. So I would welcome now the first speaker to present the topics. First, Bu Anissa Paramita. I think she is. I will share the screen to introduce her a little bit. Bu Anissa Paramita. Yeah, she is the General Secretary at IPRO, or Indonesia Packaging Recovery Organization, and it's I think a joint organization born by the PRAISE. So from a collaboration between several brand owners to implement EPR, ya, Extended Producer Responsibility. Okay, we welcome Bu Anissa. Maybe you can present first your topic.
Thank you, Pak Gary. Hello,
Thank
good
you.
afternoon, participants. I'm Anissa Paramita from Indonesia Packaging Recovery Organization. And today I will be sharing about the collaboration and innovation to develop high-value PCR roadmap. So thank you also for Millikan and IPF for inviting IPRO to be in this webinar. So before we start into IPRO itself, as Pak Gary said, we must start with praise first. So in praise, the vision is clear to integrate the segregated packaging waste collection ecosystem along with the government infrastructure and encourage changes in the management of packaging waste or recyclable packaging waste into raw materials that have more high economic value for the needs of the recycling industry. And our mission in praise is prioritizing the cooperation of all stakeholders, which we call the ESR, extended stakeholder responsibility, because we believe that everybody have their own responsibility and we must do this together. And this is coming from both from the private, public, government, and it starts from the initial value chain to the creation of recyclable packaging product using renewable materials or recycled contents, and establishing partnership with the informal and formal sectors for the collection of post-consumer packaging, which is segregated from source. And as well, we collaborate with the recycling industry to increase the recycling, the scale of the capacity, both implementation in closed loop or open loop circular economy. So to be able to do this together, we need to be together hand in hand, implementing the real practice of the business commitments and responsibility, which is already worked independently from each members of praise. So this is the best practices coming from praise members. So individually, the practice of implementing this circular economy needs to start with the determination of the raw materials used for the food beverage packaging. And this has become the basis of our joint commitment to reducing the potential of packaging waste and ensuring that the materials used can be recycled, whether it comes from the renewable resources such as paper from certified forest products or from recycled materials that have been proven to have quality standards in maintaining food safety, as well as other types of materials that are confirmed to have a recycling industry in Indonesia. Praise itself is initiated by 6 companies: Coca-Cola, Danone, Indofood, Nestle, Tetra Pak, and Unilever. And along the activity of praise itself, we have innovative program. We have the Bali Bersih, where we managed to have 50% landfill reduction. And then in here, praise then develop the PRO business model and business case development. And of course, if we talk about ESR, we talk about partnership. And we also have the communication and education on delivering the importance of waste segregation from source, and also to have good relation with the other stakeholders such as the government. And praise itself initiated the IPRO. So IPRO is a voluntary nonprofit independent. We are focusing in collection and recycling of post-consumer packaging. So this is an initiative by praise, and at the moment runs by only 3 staff. We have in IPRO, we have Ibu Martini as the general manager, and Ibu Diana as the treasury, and myself as the general secretary. And this is a foundation. So we are not a profit, so we are a non-profit. And if we look more deeper into iPro itself, so this is how it looks like. This is our position in the supply chain. You can see that what we are trying to achieve in here is the efficient, cost-effective, transparent, and accountable of the supply chain. And this system should allow producers to secure material for closed-loop recycling and social inclusiveness and fairness, especially in transitional markets with informal sector involvement. Because in here, we are putting these formal and informal collection as part of as our chain, and our members consist of the packaging companies, brand owners, retailers, and this is the EPR flow that will go to iPro, the contribution fee, the contribution cost, and then the orange line is the material flow. And then you can see the incentive financial support goes to the formal and informal collection. And then it goes also to the recyclers. I will share more about this in the next slide on how we work. So at the moment, even though we started with 6 companies in 2021, we gained 2 new members, SIG and Sampurna. And we are still looking for more members to join us to implement this PRO scheme in Indonesia. Because a joint effort is way better than doing it independently. And of course, this is also aligned with the government regulation, P75, regarding on the producers must collect back their packaging waste. We have 4 key agenda. The first is to increase recycling and collection, the packaging types iPro members put on market. And then the second is we support members in achieving circularity, neutrality targets, whether it's internal or regulated, and ensure that the social and environmental standards are upheld. And the third, we built an organization that discourages free riding among brands, converters, and retailers. And the fourth, we ensure fair and effective regulation, avoid ineffective or unnecessary taxes. And in iPro, we have 3 categories, We have 3 categories. And if we talk about category A, in here, we are giving incentive to the aggregators or recyclers for proof of recycling and collections. And in here, we work directly with them, with the L2 aggregator, which is more big than the L1 or the recyclers, for them to get the incentive where they will be collecting the waste materials, the packaging waste, specific one, example like PET or HDPE, and they will manage it. They will manage to their own ecosystem with their L1 aggregator and with the scavengers as well. And currently we are working with several partners in category A for PET, HDPE, and UBC. So in category A, we are talking about specific materials to be collected. And the collection must go to the area that has never been collected by the L2 aggregator or the recycler itself. That's where we give the incentive. And next is the category B, where we do financing for waste packaging collectors. In here, we are talking about the TPS3R or the TPST, or Material Recovery Facility. We gave capacity building for the TPS3R for the MRF. And in here, we also want to make sure the sustainability of the MRF, of the TPST, because somehow we have more than 900 of TPS3R in Indonesia, but more or less only 10% that are operating very good, economically sustainable. So in here, we gave funding for the TPS3R to them to have the capacity building. And next is the category C. Category C is actually a category where we enable the activity that supports the category A and category B. In here, we have the policy guidance, awareness and behavior change, also social inclusion of the informal sectors. So in every activity in category A and B, we always have the category C embedded in the each program. So we talk about the current achievement and the roadmap target. So based on category A, B, and C on 2021, we've collected, this is our baby step because we just established in 2020 and we start running smoothly on January 2021. And now it's our second year actually. So we've collected PT at 1,181 tons, HDPE 750 tons, UBC 500 tons. And this is the numbers that might sound not too big, but this is something that are being done together with the brand owners. And on 2022, we are looking for a different way, especially for the category B. If you see over here in category A, we are talking about the TPS3R, the Waste Bank Indok, and then the junk shop. But in 2022, we're talking about one MRF, which will occupy or which will have the capacity annually around 24K tons. And the recyclable material is 2,600 tons. And we also looking forward to have another materials in category A for PE or PP and also flexibles. So this is our current achievement, the roadmap and the target for iPro. It seems it's very big and we're looking forward to have more companies to join us as our members so we can create a circular economy in Indonesia, more integrated, and then to be aligned with the government regulation as well. Our intervention area, it's still the same as 2021. We're still looking at East Java and Bali. And in 2022, it's still the same. We're still looking at East Java and Bali, but however, we are looking forward to expand our intervention area to other places in Indonesia. And this is what we are looking in the next future. So in 2001, we have 8 companies, and 2022, we are looking for another additional companies. We are looking for 14 members, and then moreover, in the upcoming years, we are looking for 30 to 100 companies. And in advocacy, we are aiming to be more friendly on the ministerial regulation, P75, and then avoid packaging taxes that don't contribute to plastic waste collection and recycling. And iPro, we are as a sole partner of government on EPR implementation, iPro model and COAST model adopted. And of course, we build awareness and understanding on EPR and PRO for Indonesian companies. We talk about this extended stakeholder responsibility. We have already collaborated a lot in advocacy from the CGF. We are talking about the Plastic Waste Coalition. And then we also attend a lot of webinar, and not forgetting what we have done with the WPO on creating the guidelines, which is still needs to be improved because day by day things are changing. So improvement is always better. And we also collaborate with the KLHK, where they visited our partners in Bali last December to understand about the model that iPro have. And it went good, it went excellent, and we got endorsement, we got support from the government to do to engage with more companies and partners in a local level, from the recyclers or to the aggregators. Because however, the waste management in Indonesia, if we talk pieces by pieces, they are already established well. But if we combine them together, then we will find it kind of scattered. So that's quite challenging when we are talking about waste management in Indonesia, and IPRO wants to integrate that into a circular economy through the ESR, extended stakeholder responsibility. And next, that is all from me. We can discuss more in the Q&A session. And if there's any further questions about how to be our members, you can send email to info@indonesiapro.org, and you can follow also our Instagram and take a look at our website. I will pass this over to you again, Pak Gary. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Bu Anissa. So I'm excited to wait for implementation on this also. So we're going to come back now to Bu Putri first before going to this Q&A session. So Ibu Putri is already ready with the presentation from the SIGWEC Indonesia.
Yeah.
To share a little bit on the sustainable solution for the packaging. Yeah, Bu Putri, you can share your screen and try it now. Yeah, I think it's showing some sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Can
you see my screen? It should be started at the moment when you already see.
Still not yet. I will let you know. Yeah. So, like said, for participants, feel free to put the questions. So we will after Bu Putri session here on SIGWEC Indonesia. So wait a minute, it seems to start not.
It's not
sorry.
up yet, Ibu.
The
The
screen, right?
presentation.
Still not yet showing.
Yes.
But should I take over and share my screen?
It's maybe started the screen.
Okay, let me.
Yeah, but is that the material?
Okay, it's up now.
Shared? Yeah. Okay, now this is the one they shared to Wakeni. Yeah.
So not yet.
It's
I
up
think
already.
I can.
It's up already.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
you can
I think
start the
I'll ask them
presentation.
to help me, please. It's perfect. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's up, right? Everybody can see the presentation.
Now
up, Alina.
everybody can see already.
Okay, perfect. Then Putri, just let me know when I should skip forward.
Right. Okay. Sorry for the trouble. Now we're back on the track. So thank you for the committee. Terima kasih kepada panitia yang sudah mengundang saya dan panelis yang lain di acara ini. Lalu kemudian juga saya ucapkan selamat datang kepada seluruh peserta. Meskipun sekarang kita join dengan masih cara yang online, hopefully the webinar or the idea of the webinar still can be well received for everyone. Perkenalkan, nama saya Putri dari SIGWEC. Sedikit perkenalan tentang perusahaan saya. SIGWEC ini merupakan sebuah perusahaan manufaktur tinta untuk kemasan. Jadi kalau misalnya rekan-rekan ada, misalnya kita belanja ke toko-toko retailer atau ke supermarket, biasanya kan kita melihat packaging-packaging itu datang dengan berbagai macam desain dan warna. Dan SIGWEC merupakan salah satu perusahaan supplier untuk tinta untuk kemasan-kemasan yang biasa kita lihat sehari-hari. Untuk for the language that I will use here, I'll try to make it in Indonesian and in English, but in order to explain something that has more value and important messages, I'll try to cover it in both languages. Okay, so hopefully it will reach more engagement for everyone. Okay, so why? Alina, can you proceed to the next slide? Okay, so kita berangkat dari garis besarnya dulu. Kita berangkat dari garis besar kenapa kita melihat bahwa webinar ini penting dan kenapa kita tertarik dan kenapa we see this as an important value in our life ya, especially in our daily life, karena kita sadar bahwa mungkin teman-teman atau rekan-rekan tidak asing dengan isu-isu tentang isu-isu environment atau lingkungan, contohnya seperti climate change, loss of biodiversity, dan juga polusi udara, polusi lingkungan, itu juga merupakan mungkin berita-berita umum yang terjadi di masyarakat saat ini. But however, specifically in Indonesia, do you know that actually Indonesia is the second largest plastic waste contributor on Earth? Like literally the second, not in Southeast Asia, not in Asia, but on the entire Earth. And it's pretty a shame, isn't it? Because that is something that we cannot be proud of, obviously. So we think we realize that we have to do something. Kita harus berbuat sesuatu tentang permasalahan yang ada saat ini, dan kita melihat bahwa tidak adil rasanya kalau misalnya kita hanya bebankan solusi-solusi ini kepada individu-individu masyarakat. We on this circle of the corporation are part of this circle itself, that we have to find a solution together in order to overcome these problems. Alina, next. So because we realize that this is a very important issue, because karena permasalahan itu kan seperti bumerang yang ketika kita yang menciptakan tapi imbasnya juga berbalik ke kita gitu. Contohnya kalau misalnya kita menciptakan masalah-masalah waste atau polusi-polusi, utamanya ada polusi lingkungan, sampah plastik, itu kan sebetulnya bisa berbalik ke kita juga gitu, karena selain mencemari lingkungan, membuat badan kita juga tidak sehat, tapi juga kalau misalnya ada ikan-ikan di laut yang memakan mikroplastik itu juga akhirnya kalau misalnya kita makan juga tidak sehat bagi tubuh kita kan. Jadi ibaratnya ini adalah sebuah masalah bumerang yang kita ciptakan sendiri, tapi imbasnya juga berbalik kepada kita sendiri. Karena itu Sigwerk start to make more engagement to local organizations and projects that aiming to support and creating solution upon this problem. Salah satunya kita bekerja sama dengan Project Stop. Project Stop ini merupakan sebuah project yang berfokus pada menciptakan sebuah fasilitas, infrastruktur, dan juga edukasi dan awareness di masyarakat tentang good waste disposal. Gitu. Jadi bukan hanya tentang education dan awareness-nya yang ingin kita tampilkan, tapi kita juga membangun fasilitasnya. Sehingga edukasi dan awareness yang sudah terbangun dari didikan-didikan dari proyek ini juga langsung bisa terimplementasikan. Bukan hanya fasilitas dan infrastruktur, ini juga bisa dikembangkan menjadi sebuah model bisnis yang berkaitan langsung dengan masyarakat-masyarakat di sekitar. Contohnya pada saat kemarin kita sempat ke Pasuruan di Jawa Timur, ada proyek di sana kita membangun sebuah fasilitas untuk masyarakat lokal di sana, bagaimana kita punya sistem waste disposal yang baik. So together with several brand owners like Nestle, HP, and other governmental bodies, we are together supporting this project and organization in order to create a solution toward the problem that has existed in Indonesia specifically. Alina, next. Next step, kalau misalnya tadi kita sudah engage di beberapa lokal project and organization tentang bagaimana kita mencari solusi supaya kita bisa punya pendidikan masyarakat yang baik tentang waste disposal. Nah, kita juga realize bahwa kita harus menciptakan sebuah we have to develop a better product. Kayak internally kita berusaha untuk selalu membangun atau mendevelop produk-produk yang juga lebih ramah lingkungan, karena kita percaya bahwa inks and coatings technology gitu, karena Sigwerk ini merupakan sebuah perusahaan yang bergerak di bidang inks and coatings, we plays important roles in enabling circular packaging gitu. So we believe that actually linear economy is an outdated concept and should be changed by a wiser concept. And the concept of circular economy that we are currently adapting. So the essence of the linear economy itself itu maksudnya kalau misalnya linear economy kan dari pertama diproduksi, kemudian digunakan, kemudian dibuang. Tidak ada circularity, tidak ada perputaran di situ gitu. Jadi kami dari Sigwerk percaya bahwa sistem yang seperti itu sudah sudah harus ditinggalkan dan kami beralih ke konsep circular economy. Jadi ketika dia diproduksi pun harus dengan menggunakan material sebisa mungkin menggunakan material-material yang tidak mencemari lingkungan, lalu bahan-bahan yang berbahaya bagi lingkungan juga harus dikurangi, lalu secara pemakaian ketika dia sudah dipakai sebisa mungkin dia bisa dipakai ulang. So that's the concept of the circular economy that we are adapting. For the main pillars, we are adapting 3 main pillars for the circular economy in SIGREC. The first is about reduce, the second is about reuse, and the third one is about recycle. Reduce di sini maksudnya adalah pengurangan bahan-bahan yang berbahaya dan menggantinya dengan material-material yang lebih ramah lingkungan. Contohnya kalau misalnya eliminate, kita mengeliminate bahan-bahan polimer yang tidak bisa di-recycle dan menggantinya dengan bahan-bahan yang lebih biorenewable dan recycle kontennya juga bisa lebih tinggi dibandingkan dengan sebelumnya. Untuk step reuse sebisa mungkin bahwa kita ketika sedang pengiriman produk kita atau misalnya pemakaian barang yang kita gunakan itu juga sebisa mungkin punya function untuk bisa dipakai ulang, lalu juga tidak lupa kalau misalnya semuanya itu bahan-bahannya pada dasarnya harus bisa di-recycle, sehingga ketika mereka sudah selesai menjalankan fungsinya itu tetap bisa digunakan. Alina, next. So I would like to say that we realize as our part in enabling the circular packaging, sustainable packaging, karena seperti yang tadi saya sudah bilang bahwa inks and coatings technology are one of the key of enabler in circular packaging, karena ada beberapa gap yang akan diisi oleh teknologi inks and coating ketika kita mau menciptakan sebuah packaging yang lebih sustainable. Contohnya gimana? Contohnya saya kasih gambaran seperti misalnya kemasan-kemasan itu kan ada yang mengandung aluminium foil dan sifatnya aluminium itu punya fungsi yang khusus gitu, punya fungsi yang spesifik, yaitu di mana dia bisa menahan atau sebagai protectant ya, sebagai pelindung dari kontaminan-kontaminan yang datang dari luar. Tetapi permasalahannya adalah aluminium foil ini merupakan suatu material yang tidak bisa di-recycle. Nah, jadi bagaimana kalau kita bisa mengambil atau this aluminum foil has been taken out, but at the same time the property of the packaging need to carry the same property of barrier, so there is no contaminant that comes from outside to the inside of the packaging itself, and that's how inks and coating plays important role in this part, because we are enabling this circular packaging by providing inks and coating that has same property that the packaging of aluminum foil has gitu. Jadi misalnya kalau misalnya kita sudah mengambil aluminum foilnya, maka aluminum foil ini harus diganti dengan sesuatu. Nah di sini ada beberapa coatings yang memang berfungsi sebagai penahan atau barrier supaya kontaminan-kontaminan dari luar tidak masuk ke dalam. Disitulah salah satu contoh di mana on how inks and coating technology are one of the enabler for the circular or sustainable packaging. And then di sini kita melihat bahwa yang namanya packaging itu kan tidak mungkin tidak berwarna gitu kan. Yang namanya brand owners pasti mempertimbangkan bagaimana mereka ingin membranding atau misalnya mereka ingin menampilkan image terhadap produk yang ingin mereka keluarkan kan. Jadi kalau misalnya teman-teman lihat yang gambar sebelah kiri ini kan kemungkinan kurang bagaimana yang namanya sebuah brand itu tidak punya kekuatannya itu tidak muncul. Tetapi kalau misalnya diberi warna by the existence of color, of course the brand has their own power. What kind of brand that the brand owners want to show to people, for example. So everything has to be there at the first time. So we realize that bahwa peran kami dalam mensupport atau mendukung development dari circular packaging itu sangat signifikan untuk supaya brand owners tetap bisa menampilkan brand yang mereka inginkan, tapi juga dengan properti-properti yang juga bisa mendukung circular economy. Alina, next. So tentunya dengan motivasi yang tadi saya sebutkan tadi, bahwa yang namanya kita di Sigwork juga sudah punya komitmen, kita juga sudah punya motivasi supaya kita bisa support dan mendevelop produk-produk yang lebih circular for packaging, tapi kita juga tentunya tidak melupakan esensi awal yang harus kita pegang sejak awal. Safety is our core, jadi kalau misalnya kita mendevelop sebuah produk, safety comes first. Tentunya 4 pilar utama ini merupakan pegangan bagi kami supaya produk-produk yang kami keluarkan tetap bisa safe atau memenuhi syariat-syariat keamanan, tapi juga punya kualitas yang juga baik. Tentunya pertama kita perhatikan dari safety for the production, kita perhatikan keamanan dari bahan ini diproduksi, lalu kemudian juga safety when it's dipakai, jadi keamanan ketika dipakai, keamanan ketika dia dipegang oleh konsumen di masyarakat, lalu juga kita membuat sebuah desain yang circular gitu, jadi tidak linear economy seperti saya sebutkan tadi, dan juga ketika dia selesai digunakan dan dia dirujuk ke dalam sebuah proses recycling atau daur ulang, proses daur ulangnya pun akan menciptakan produk yang juga aman. So safety come first. Sigwork merupakan sebuah, we realize that we are the company with the highest standard of the PSR. Jadi product safety and regulation adalah fokus utama kami dalam mengembangkan produk, sehingga kita pastikan bahwa produk-produk yang digunakan itu tetap aman digunakan. So I want to say here that we are in Sigwork, we would like to be your partner, and we are ready to be your partner in enabling circular packaging. In the next slide, I will explain to you on how several technology is currently developed by us in order to support the circular packaging. So, Alina, next. Yang pertama, we always encourage our customer to switch from unrecyclable polymer into fiber-based packaging. Jadi ketika kita encourage customer untuk berpindah dari polimer yang tidak bisa digunakan ke fiber-based packaging, di situ kan sebetulnya ada gap gitu kan, ada tantangan yang harus diisi. One of the main challenge when we are switching from the unrecyclable polymer into fiber-based packaging is we have to fill the gap of the sealing property and also protecting property of the polymer itself. Karena yang namanya struktur dari sebuah polimer itu kan lebih rigid dan lebih padat dibandingkan polimer dibandingkan dengan substrat fiber atau kertas contohnya gitu, sehingga that is the reason why the unrecyclable plastic cannot be recycled, because there is no room for microorganism to go through all the structures and break down the structures of the polymer gitu. Tetapi di sisi lain kalau misalnya kita menggunakan packaging, betul bahwa strukturnya lebih longgar sehingga mikroorganisme itu bisa masuk dan mendegradasi struktur dari kertas. Tapi kan dengan seperti itu mungkin proteksinya itu berkurang dibandingkan dengan kita menggunakan polimer yang tidak bisa di-recycle gitu. That's one of the main challenge here. Nah, jadi kita di Sigwork juga mendevelop beberapa coatings yang fungsinya memang untuk berfungsi sebagai barrier coating. Sehingga meskipun substratnya yang kita pakai adalah substrat kertas, tetapi properti barriernya, properti penghalangnya, properti pelindungnya tetap bisa ada. Itu yang pertama. Lalu yang kedua juga kita berfokus kepada series tinta yang kita gunakan. Kita di sini disebut dengan Uni-Nature. Uni-Nature is one of the series of the inks that has high biorenewable content. Gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya Uni-Nature adalah satu series yang kita develop untuk sebuah tinta yang punya bahan-bahan biorenewable yang tinggi, sehingga ketika packaging ini dilepas ke alam itu tidak mencemari lingkungan. Alina, next. Ini adalah contoh selain dari, tetap konsepnya adalah switching dari plastik unrecyclable plastic to fiber-based packaging. Di sini bisa dilihat contohnya bahwa sebetulnya originally dia punya struktur itu ada 3 atau 4 layer. Dia ada OPP-nya, kemudian ada tinta, kemudian ada lapisan PE, yang terakhir ada LLDPE. Tetapi dengan konsep dari circular economy, karena kita melihat bahwa mungkin ketika si PE ini bisa digantikan dengan fiber based packaging, jadi kita menggunakan paper sebagai lapisan dasar, kemudian dipakai di coating dengan menggunakan lapis pertamanya itu tinta, dan yang paling atas itu OPV-nya. Tugas si OPV ini adalah sebagai enabler of the protectant and also sealer gitu, sehingga dia tidak perlu menggunakan PE dan LLDPE, tapi dengan konten atau dengan konsep desain yang bisa lebih ramah lingkungan. Contohnya seperti itu. Alina, next. Ya, ini adalah kemudian salah satu contoh lain dari produk yang kita develop adalah de-inking. Pada in general, de-inking is a separation process between inks and substrate. So thus the substrate can be recycled after use. For example, kayak contohnya ketika kita menggunakan teknologi de-inking, jadi si tinta yang ada di kemasan itu bisa dicabut sehingga kalau misalnya botolnya atau misalnya kemasannya mau didaur ulang, itu bisa dilakukan gitu, karena kalau misalnya sebuah produk itu tidak di de-inking, banyak produk-produk yang sebenarnya tidak bisa di de-inking ya gitu. Maksudnya kalau misalnya sebuah produk itu tintanya itu tidak dilepas, ketika dia didaur ulang, maka kualitas dari plastiknya ini tidak akan sama ketika dia pertama kali diproduce gitu, karena ada kontaminasi warna, karena ada kontaminasi kimia yang terjadi ketika dia di-recycle. Sehingga penting bahwa kita punya sebuah teknologi yang bisa melepas tinta dari kemasan, maka pada akhirnya si kemasan itu bisa didaur ulang. Contohnya akan saya sampaikan di next selanjutnya. Alina, next. Nah, ini merupakan salah satu contoh ya, ada label, mungkin teman-teman sadar ini labelnya label apa. Nah, label ini kemudian kita mix dengan de-inking atau de-inking solution yang sifatnya basah gitu. Jadi memang ada deterjennya sendiri ibaratnya. Nah, si label ini kemudian dicuci atau di-mixing dengan menggunakan de-inking solution secara 5 menit, dan hasilnya kita lihat bahwa hasilnya it forms a crystal clear polymer substrate that is ready to be recycled gitu. Jadi kan plastik ini kalau misalnya dia di-recycle sudah bisa, dan ketika di-recycle hasilnya pun akan tetap bersih seperti ini gitu. Nah, kalau misalnya di sebelah yang kiri, kalau misalnya dia tintanya tidak bisa di-inkable atau misalnya tintanya tidak bisa dipisah dari substratnya, maka dia masih akan tertinggal di labelnya seperti ini, dan kemudian ketika dia di-recycle itu kan warnanya udah tidak jadi bening lagi gitu. Jadi mengurangi kualitas dari recycled. Nah, itu adalah satu produk yang kita develop. Alina, next. So in general, it will be the overall process of the inking. Yang pertama kita input material, dan kemudian setelah dicuci warnanya kemudian balik jadi bersih lagi. Lalu dia ready to become a granulate, white, odor free, and also color free, dan bisa dipakai ulang menjadi kemasan yang pertama dia tadi dipakai. Seperti itu. Oke, next, Alina. Oke, so yang selanjutnya adalah kita punya konsep mengurangi layer, multi layer menjadi monolayer. Contohnya di sini ada sebuah kemasan di mana dia ada beberapa layer ya dalam kemasan ini. Ada PE base, adhesive, MAT PET, adhesive lagi, reverse print, dan juga OPP top layer. Alina, can you help me to go through the process? Oke, so ini adalah so this is the example of the pictures on how they have so many layers, and after we try to enable, and after that, so okay, this is one of, mainly it has 3 layers: the OPP top layer, MET PET, and PE base layer film. However, we think that this is too much layer, right? We have to somehow cut numbers of layers here and make it become simpler. So would you please go to the next slide, Alina? So we changed the layer. Yeah. Go on. Right, go on until it finish. Iya. Oke, tadi kan awalnya kita melihat, oh ya. So in the beginning we see that actually it has more likely like 6 layers in it, but now because we changed the PE base layer into MOPE top layer film, so the layer has only become 2. yang dari yang sebelumnya kita ada 3 layer unrecyclable polymer, jadi sekarang sisanya hanya tinggal 2. Nah, ini adalah step yang pertama. Step yang kedua, kita mau membuat bahwa layer unrecyclable, layer dari packaging yang digunakan itu hanya menjadi MOPE-nya saja. Karena MOPE ini sebenarnya sudah merupakan suatu polimer yang punya nilai recyclable yang tinggi dan juga dia bisa dimetalize gitu ya, bisa dimetalize sehingga dia punya struktur yang ketika dia di printing menggunakan warnanya tetap akan keluar gitu. Oke, so next, next, again next, ya, ini adalah contohnya. Tadi kan until finish, go on, iya. Right. So this is the final designs of the packaging. So the main layers only use MOPE film with the surface print on it, and also on the coating on top of the inks for heat and stretch resistant lacquer. So this is on how also inks and coating plays important roles in enabling circular packaging, because we can provide the property that previously covered by unrecyclable polymer substrate, but now it's time to change. It's time to transform the packaging design, because somehow there is some product of inks and coatings that able to cover those kind of properties. Right, next. It has more content of recyclable because the MOPE film itself has a higher content of recyclable materials in it, and also it supports the property of printing, so the brand owner do not have to worry if they want to design what kind of packaging pictures they want to put on the packaging design. Alina, next. So yeah, for the summary, we believe that actually in order to combat the crisis in Indonesia at the moment, we have to be collaborative. Karena untuk mensupport circular packaging ini, Sigwork tidak bisa sendirian. Sigwork juga harus bekerja sama dengan supplier-supplier kami dan juga dengan brand owner atau korporasi-korporasi yang memakai jasa kami. Karena kalau misalnya sendirian itu tidak akan ada manfaatnya. Kalau misalnya kita di dalam sebuah circle, the circle has to be fully filled and everybody has to be involved here. So we say that let's do it together and we are ready to be your partner. So next, Alina. So thank you so much for the attention. I'll hand it over to Mr. Gary Darmawan as a moderator. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Putri. A very interesting topic and very innovation breakthrough. So you open the mind of our participant now to the solution for the sustainable packaging. I think I will start with those questions directed to you, Bu Putri, before going to the IPRO. Yeah. So the first question I found from the chat room is from Benedict Regan Salomo. This is I think overseas. Yeah, he's a QC manager from IPM. And what kind of material? So his question is, I think maybe you already presented in your presentation, but you can share it again. What kind of material that can replace multi-layer plastic containing alu material existence, whereas multi-layer plastic still needed to track sustainability many kinds of foods. If we should replace aluminum or metallized film with coating or ink or any material, isn't that will be too costly? How we can overcome it? Thank you. Maybe this is the first question, Bu Putri.
Okay, right. So thank you very much for the question. It's very interesting questions. What kind of materials that can cover the property of aluminum foil? I'm not really sure about what if he's referring to the groups or of chemical structures, for examples. Probably I cannot mention that, but maybe I can say that maybe some of the acrylic resin can do that, and with some right proportions of technique and technology that we are implementing, it's actually very doable. Some of the project that we are having now is also ongoing related to the barrier coating that replace aluminum foil in a packaging design. So that's very doable, and the technology has existed. I have to mention that because it's ongoing project internally in Sigwerk. Related to what kind of materials, I would say that there are some. It mainly comes from the resins. It came from the resins. The main property comes from the resins, so that will be the main idea on how the barrier coating property would be existed. And will it be costly? Sure, but here's the thing. When we try to switch something into a more technological thing, it always costly in the beginning, right? But however, when the demand comes higher, when the more people use it, more, for example, like there are more people that is developing the same kind of product, then somehow it gets more competitive, for example. So do not be afraid of investing, because what I want to say is that it's somehow, we know when for example, when we buy a new phone, for example, like somehow it getting cheaper and cheaper somehow in the future due to technological competitiveness. So that's what I want to say. So probably I'm not how competitive it can be, that would be I would say that it relatively still not too high expensive. How to say, like, it's not too expensive, maybe it's more expensive, but it's not that competitive. But in the future, I'm sure that it will be more general.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Putri. So the next questions also to Bu Putri, maybe you could please, this is from Clay Wala, ATGMI. So to Ibu Putri, could you please give us some more insights on paper bottles for beverage? Are the technologies mature enough to be implemented in Indonesia? Okay, yeah. I don't know if you can answer that, Bu Putri. Are you aware about this paper bottles made of paper? Yeah. Is that related to the coating technology from the Sigwerk, or do you think is that possible to implement in Indonesia?
Putri, you're on mute.
Hello. You're muted, Bu Putri.
Okay, sorry. So it's about paper bottle, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fortunately, actually, for today, I'm not alone. So if you would, Alina, would you please share your opinion? Yeah.
Of course. So there is some innovation happening in the paper bottle space. If you look at what there is on the market right now, it's usually still has plastic in it, so it's not a pure paper. We have very early conversations with some of these producers to see if our coatings could also be helpful there. However, and here comes the big caveat, if you look at how well established the PET recycling stream is, and we saw that actually also today, I am always a bit skeptical when it comes to replacing PET plastic bottles with paper plastic bottles that are, at least as the paper recycling stream is now built, will not be recycled. There's discussion on would it be better if paper decomposes in case it leaks. So this is a valid discussion, but be cautious in these transitions also. Where are you taking the material from? And if it's a really good functioning recycling stream for plastic, I would probably focus on other substitution areas.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bu Alina, Mrs. Alina. Yeah, we are from Sigwerk as well. I hope that can answer the question. The next question is coming from Ragita. Ragita is having a question in terms of advancing the environment credential of fiber-based packaging, for paper packaging for forest-based products, does SICWET also pay attention to sustainable forest management certification and forest product supply chain of custody? I think
Yeah. Yes, maybe can
paper.
yeah, to jump in here as well, Chloe. So usually, of course, the paper is sourced from the paper mill or provided from the paper mill to the packaging converter. So we as ZICVAC do not have, for example, FSC certified materials because we don't use paper-based materials. We provide for paper-based materials. However, I think what's nice to sort of see is, especially when working with the big paper mills, that for those innovative areas, they have the strong tendency to use certified papers or recycled papers, and hence really make sure that it's a sustainable product from sourcing to end of life. And we also try to bring this up in discussions, what's the source of the paper as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Alina. So I think there's only the questions about the inking technology or the inking products that you have. A question from Chairul Rija. The inking product is suitable for all material, or will it decrease the quality of the packaging material itself or not? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Question abroad.
Thank you for the questions. For the inking, we have to see it case by case. We have to see what kind of substrate that you are using, whether you are using polymer, whether you are using paper, because different substrate requires different technique of the inking. So what kind of ink that you should use? Do you need any primer on it or not? And is the ink attached a lot to the substrate or not? So it actually requires more complexity.
Yeah. Okay, yes. So it depends on the material. Bu Putri, your sound.
However, I would say that it's not so complex. Sorry, hello?
Yes, now coming. Yeah, on my side. Maybe the signal was a little bit, but now it's okay.
Alina, can you cover me?
Yeah, sure. So the overall quality of the pack is not influenced. Where we do have to look at pack by pack is how do we create that de-inkability and material by material? Do we need a primer, for example, or is the ink system itself already in a setup that is easily de-inkable? And this is where we look at it with our customers and the brand owners together, case by case. But target of course is that the packaging itself doesn't lose any of its functionalities and attractiveness if we make it de-inkable.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Alina. Okay, thank you, Bu Putri. I think those are the questions I managed to highlight. The rest you maybe feel free to answer it on the chat room. I just read some of the questions to IPRO now because we have 2 minutes. Okay, first question. Okay, how to join this organization? This is okay, very general. I'm curious as well, but Bu Anissa, maybe you can answer the first question.
Thank you, Gary. So to join as part of IPRO members is very simple. You can contact us. Send email to me or to the email address mentioned in my presentation. And then we will have an initial meetings and we will explain more about how IPRO works, and we will talk more about your movement in sustainability as well. And to be part of our member, there will be contribution fee as well to do the collection. As the incentive for the collection, through our programs, category A, category B, and category C.
Okay, basically anybody can join and make
Yeah,
contribution.
and we actually encourage companies, and usually the challenge coming from companies that would like to join iPro itself is we have to educate the company first, especially local companies. I mean, if we talk about the global multinational companies, they already have the view from the global headquarters, the vision of the company itself. But when we talk about local companies, it's still challenging. It's still challenging because somehow waste is not treated as a cost in the company, but more as like a valuable material. So instead of looking forward to have to spend money on it, they're looking to do something else.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. The second question, I think regarding the consumer flexible film packaging, does IPRO also initiate collection of the post-consumer flexible packaging beside the rigid, of course, and then also do you collect the multi-layers plastic waste also to be recycled, such as for coffee, so beverages? Yeah, maybe you can share first. Yeah.
Yeah, those two questions are actually quite similar, Pak Gary. So yes, we're looking to collect the multi-material packaging waste in category B, and especially the multi-layers packaging. And why in category B? Because as I mentioned, as I explained before, in category B, we will have the TPST or the MRF, where we will have a lot of waste coming in from the household and from the businesses, from the local area where the MRF is running. And we are expecting to get the multi-layers packaging from that side. And next, we will engage with recyclers that can process the multi-layers. And we already have actually here in Indonesia, and iPro task itself, iPro roles itself is to make sure to connect the MRF to the recyclers so it can be recycled.
Yes. Regarding this plastic multi-layer also recycling, there's also some question related that many scavengers don't want to take multi-layer plastic. Maybe the value, yeah. Can the okay, this was question actually going to Bu Putri, but okay. IPRO also cover that actually, right? To put or to motivate the scavengers to.
Would you? Sorry, I was in a technical difficulties before.
No problem, Bu Putri. There was questions. Actually it already answered in your presentation. Then the multi-layer plastic, you have some technologies to simplify the structure to be recyclable. But now maybe for the IPRO, how the IPRO can motivate the scavengers to collect the multi-layer film itself.
Yes. So MOPE. So basically, MOPE has more recyclable content in the packaging itself.
Yeah. Okay, that was okay. Thank you very much, Bu Putri. So Bu Anissa maybe can cover that.
On how to this is also the challenge for the multi-layers packaging, because it has no price in the market, and that's why iPro is trying to set up or to enabling this waste management ecosystem in Indonesia. We have the waste, and we have the recyclers, but we don't have the market yet. And that is also happening with other types of plastic or other types of packaging as well. And that is still our challenge, not only iPro challenge, but it's our nation challenge. So we must involve the government as well, the businesses as well, to make sure that we can have a proper collection and then do the recycling for the multi-layer packaging.
Okay, Thank you very much, Bu Anissa. So thank you, Putri. So obviously it is a movement from all stakeholders. They are involved. So IPRO facilitates from the brand owner to as a bridge to collect their waste, and also SIGWAC, we have many technologies to convert the multi-layer film into also the mono-layer to make it more recyclable, and also the de-inking technology. So the technologies are there. So I would like to hand over.
I might one more thing before we finish.
Yes, sure.
I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but if you have any question, feel free to approach me through my emails that has been provided during my presentations. I would very welcome for every questions. Thank you very much.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Bu Putri, for your sharing. So I would like to just call Mr. Hengki Wibawa. I think we are at the end of the session. Just because of limitation on the time, I think we can wrap up all the webinar today by having the closing remarks from Pak Hengki Wibawa as a Vice President at World Packaging Organization. I think I just hand over you the floor, Pak Hengki.
Well, thank you, Gary. Yes, I made some notes. Yeah, we are already in time limit. Of course, we are already 22 minutes over the schedule, actually. So I make a note that regarding the whole very, very fruitful information, but some I need also to correct. So what we really want to achieve a better quality of life through better packaging for more people. That is based to the packaging again. Yeah, that is important for us. So this is a sustainable future of the packaging, actually. What I'm going to correct is from Putri that before. Again and again, I have to correct that. We are not, Indonesia is not the second largest polluter in the ocean or in the earth. No. That is based on the wrong regression analysis made the report by Dr. Jenna Jambek from USA. And we have invited, and she admitted that was wrong. The regression analysis. She came from the big cities, plastic pollution, but then regrade to 17,000 living island in Indonesia, which is not all the same consumption of plastic. Our consumption is still 15 kilogram plastic per capita. That you have to keep in mind. How can be that we are the largest polluted in the ocean? So please correct that. Okay. What I want to make a note here. Definitely, we have as an industry, if we fail to stop our pollution, the government will start again to ban more and more products, and at the end, the price of the brand owner's product will have to pay. We have to pay, and will be a lot of license to operate in the country. And this is up to you. So that's why what we have to really to transform today is to reduce or substitute the avoidable uses of plastics unnecessary. So again, I said of plastic unnecessary. So keep in mind that we have to think always 100% recyclable. 100% recyclable, that means upcycling, not only downcycling, upcycling. That means as upcycling, as that food for food, that should be also food safe. Always I said our complexity in the future of packaging is make it better, safer, faster, smarter, cheaper, and greener. That is the most important in the future. Okay, and then of course, like what IPRO, that is also part of our collaboration work. We have already established document, and IPRO now doing all the implementation. This collaboration is a very, very important also in this case, in the waste management, but also for resources management by closed loop blockchain ecosystem. That is so important. And this is part definitely of EPR, is the extended from the CSR, the corporate social responsibility, into EPR, that what we can really co-funding, for example, to integrate the support of informal sector that we are talking about. Today, we don't have a lot of a good infrastructure in Indonesia. So we need to really to get the support of the informal sector. So new recycling technology is also coming, and that is also to give all the solution. In order to really doing that into the recycling technology, the new innovative recycling technology, we have also to have investment budget. That is also so important in the future. I think that is my closing remark, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Hengki. So with that, I would like to hand over back to Wak Kenny. I think as the host of this webinar, we have come to the end of the session. I think 4:30 should be actually finished. So Bu Vera, thank you. I hand over to you back for the closing and thank you notes to all the speakers and participants.
Terima kasih kepada Pak Hengki sudah menutup webinar hari ini, dan kepada Pak Geri atas rangkuman kegiatan webinar hari ini, juga bagi para pembicara yang telah hadir dan memberikan presentasi yang sangat berguna bagi kami. Terima kasih juga kepada Indonesia Packaging Federation sehingga webinar hari ini dapat terselenggara dengan baik. We would very much appreciate to receive your feedback about this webinar in the evaluation link provided. Now, please allow us to express our sincere gratitude to all speakers virtually. Thank you, Ms. Nerida Kelton. Thank you, Mr. Daryl Chung. Terima kasih, Bapak David Thanos. Terima kasih, Ibu Putri Rizka Lestari. Dan terima kasih, Ibu Anissa Paramita. Kami mohon maaf jika dalam pelaksanaan webinar hari ini ada hal yang kurang berkenan bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Dan bagi Bapak dan Ibu yang berminat memiliki sertifikat serta materi dari webinar hari ini, dapat mengunduh melalui link yang diberikan. IPF dan Wakeni akan kembali mengadakan sesi webinar berikutnya pada tanggal 16 Maret 2022 dengan topik End-to-End Supply Chain Solutions for Food Cold Chain. Detail mengenai webinar ini akan kami infokan kemudian. Dengan berakhirnya webinar IPF Indopack hari ini, saya, Vera Siregar, undur diri. Salam sehat untuk kita semua, dan sampai bertemu kembali di webinar kami selanjutnya tanggal 16 Maret 2022, dan di pameran Indopack, Indoplus, dan Indoprint pada tanggal 31 Agustus sampai dengan 3 September 2022. Salam sehat.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bu Vera, and thank you all the speakers.
Terima kasih.
Thank you, Bu Putri. So all the participants, you may contact also the speakers if there is any questions. Yeah. Thank you.
the masterclass packaging in Bali. It's a good one because I'm new in the packaging industry. The class gives me a lot of idea about packaging industry and also its contribution to environment.
Individuals and as a company, we make choices that impact the world around us. Choices about the way we live, how we treat others, and what we buy. As a global manufacturer with a long-held commitment to a more sustainable world, we understand our responsibility to make not just the right choices, but to challenge ourselves and our partners to directly address the difficult issues, both human and environmental, that we all face. Why do we embrace this challenge? It's part of who we are as a company. Long before sustainability entered our everyday language, Milliken understood the link between a living enterprise and a thriving planet. Our business practices are guided today, as they have been for more than a century, by a core belief that we should always do the right things and do them in the right way. This means sometimes we have to say no, or not today, and that we must have the courage to analyze our performance with metrics that acknowledge both when we are successful and when we must improve. With this first company report, we share some of the sustainably focused choices and challenges we are embracing as a company. We are inventing smart technologies that help reduce water use in crop production and protect and preserve the global food supply. We are developing products that begin to address the urgent plastics issues facing our planet. Through the use of yarn made from recycled beverage containers, we've already kept over 100 million bottles out of landfills. And we recently announced a plan to create virgin quality resin from post-consumer recycled plastic. Both of these solutions are helping to expand the circular economy for man-made materials. As scientists, we are exploring beyond how we just form fabrics with recycled content, and are looking to nature to invent textiles and flooring that allow cleaner air both in our homes and in the workplace. And being recognized as an Ethisphere World's Most Ethical Company every year since the award began in 2007, we continually dedicate ourselves and our supply partners to the highest ethical and safety standards. We have a strong history of focusing on sustainability, but we recognize that we can and should continue to evolve with more aggressive goals that actively protect, preserve, and improve our world. Together, we have the courage to face the hard problems and discover solutions that help create the most positive impact. Accepting our role in making a more sustainable world, we've set a series of goals for 2025 that include a 25% reduction in our greenhouse gas emissions, water consumption and solid waste creation, 0 lost work days in our manufacturing facilities to help provide the safest work environment possible, giving back to the communities where we live and work with 100,000 volunteer hours, and promoting sustainability conversations in our industries as we search for better product end-of-life solutions. These goals will challenge Milliken and our partners, but we are confident that by being in this together, our collective actions will help ensure a cleaner, stronger, more beautiful, and more sustainable world for generations to come.